Can you believe I'm here again tonight having a conversation with you about gun violence? The latest mass shooting today in a small rural California town. 4 people were killed, 10 more were wounded, including a child who was shot in front of a school. The suspect was accused of domestic violence just yesterday, and we've seen this same scenario playing out all over the country. Last week, it was the mass shooting at a Texas church. The gunman also previously accused of domestic violence, as were the gunman in the Orlando nightclub massacre last year and the gunman who shot Congressman Steve Scalise and 4 others at a Republican congressional baseball practice in June. So why is this a big deal for us here in Georgia? Tonight, in an investigation you'll only see on 11 Alive, our team is revealing a dangerous loophole here in our state, which allows domestic violence abusers to keep their guns even though they're supposed to be banned from having them. And it's this gray area that nearly cost a local woman her life.
And I said, please don't shoot me again, I'm dying. And instead he looked down at me and he said, watch this. And he cocked the gun.
11 Alive investigator Rebecca Lindstrom has the exclusive story on how this loophole could be putting people in potential danger right here in Georgia.
Just 6 days after the court ordered James Bland to stay away from his wife and children, he crawled nearly a mile through the woods, crossed a creek, and hid on the side of the house. As the garage door started to close,
I saw him in the side view mirror, leaning against a wall, 2 feet from me, cocking the gun. So I put my head down, I put the car in reverse.
But instead of the street, she hit a tree, then the ditch. She crawled out the passenger side door, hoping to run to safety.
He shattered my right femur. He shattered my left knee. I have a shot that mangled my right lung.
So you managed to get how far to your neighbor's house?
Right here.
Right here?
Yeah, right here.
Right here is where Bland stood and shot his wife, Janet Paulson, 2 more times.
And I watched him do it.
Was there anything about him that you still recognize?
No, this was pure evil. I can't describe the look on his face. It was emotionless, it was expressionless, but so much so that it was evil.
As soon as Paulson filed for a temporary protective order, or TPO, the Cobb County Sheriff's Office seized 71 guns belonging to Bland, but he still had 1 more.
And you knew where it was located?
In his vehicle.
And you told them?
I was told it's a gray area, that a protective order does not cover the inside of a vehicle, even if it's on the property.
To be clear, federal law prohibits anyone served with a family violence protective order after a hearing from possessing a gun. But Georgia is one of 5 states that has no law at any stage of the process to enforce it. That means it's up to counties and even individual judges to decide how serious to take the threat.
It's just not cut and dry. It can vary.
There are 2 parts to the family violence TPO. The ex parte is usually granted the day it's filed, offering immediate legal protection. But Gwinnett County Sheriff Sergeant Tracy Lee says it also offers immediate personal risk.
That's the moment of truth. That's when you're going to find out he or she is either going to back off or they're going to come at you with everything they got.
Because of that risk, judges in Cobb County order respondents to surrender their guns immediately. But counties like Gwinnett wait a week or so until both parties get a chance to appear in court and tell their side of the story.
And at that point, they will ask the respondent, do you have a firearm?
It's up to the respondent to tell the truth.
Do you ever walk away from a house and just kind of have this feeling in your gut that maybe they didn't tell you the truth?
Oh, all the time.
Just hours after Eddie McAllison was ordered to surrender his firearm by a DeKalb County judge, he shot his wife at this CVS parking lot 3 times. Even though Deborah Raymond told the court her husband had taken out his gun and threatened to shoot her, there is no paperwork to indicate the deputy ever asked Allison to surrender his gun.
There's no teeth, there's no mechanism in that law to actually make sure those guns aren't still in the person's hands.
Representative Brian Strickland knows there are counties in this state that rarely ask a respondent to surrender their weapons. He has introduced a bill to change that.
If you support the current law, I think you ought to support a mechanism of enforcing that law. And I'm very open to different ideas as to how we do this.
But you feel something has to be done.
Something has to be done.
Ruby Lloyd.
Paulson now keeps a well-worn piece of paper in her purse. It's covered in names.
Raina Reed.
There were 529 people killed in the state of Georgia just in domestic violence gun shootings in 5 years.
Candace Ann Hankins.
At this vigil, as names were called and lives remembered, Paulson says she couldn't forget. Her name was almost the last one on this list.
It's mind-boggling how much damage one person can do.
Sergeant Lee says more than removing guns, their family violence unit stresses safety plans, counseling, and spending time with respondents, explaining to them why they need to stay away. But Paulson says the rules shouldn't vary on where you live, and domestic violence victims shouldn't have to ask.
Powerful piece. What happened to the husband?
You heard her mention there at the beginning that he looked at her and he said, "Watch this." Well, that's when he cocked the gun, but it was empty. So she says he went back to the garage, reloaded, then laid down on the ground and shot himself. He died at the hospital, and technically, so did she. A trauma surgeon massaged her heart, bringing her back to life.
Unbelievable. Now, this is a federal law. We know what Georgia isn't doing about this. What about other states?
I want you to take a look at a map because we put this together to help show. There are states, the states in green, those are ones that require at some point in the process, whether it's the ex parte or the final permanent order, that those guns be surrendered. The states you see in blue, those are states that at least by law give authority to the deputies or the courts to have those guns removed. And then the states in red, where Georgia is, those are the states that have simply remained silent on this issue.
All right, hopefully they won't continue to remain silent. Powerful piece. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Rebecca.